Hello and welcome back to my gardening channel. It is the middle of summer. It is so hot in Central Virginia and so humid. And today I'm doing something that to new gardeners seems a little bit counterintuitive, but I am going to start my fall garden. And normally I don't really do a whole lot of fall gardening. By the time fall rolls around, I'm pretty much ready to close down the garden. I've harvested a ton, especially July and August are huge harvesting times. And the garden's petering out, the heat is pretty high, and by this time of year, I'm just pretty much ready to start doing some reflecting on the year and planning for the next garden season. However, this year, I really want to take a better crack at fall gardening. And the main inspiration for that is the things that I eat the most are often grown only in cooler seasons. We are broccoli eaters. Pretty much every other night we're eating broccoli in a stir fry or roasted. That's kind of our favorite thing. So that's one thing that I really want to grow that does not do well in heat and humidity. So I'm going to start some of those. Leafy greens do really well in the fall. Again, not well in the heat at all. They bolt pretty quickly. So I'm going to start some of those later in the season, but designate some spots in the garden for those. And then I'd like to grow a couple more things that I've either never grown before or really just don't have a lot of interest in, to be honest, because I like to try new things, put things in recipes in different ways, research different ways to use things. So things like kohlrabi and mustard greens, things like that, I've never really incorporated into my meal planning. That maybe could be cool or interesting or horrible, who knows. So perfectly open to trying new things, especially when they don't take a ton of space up in the garden. So what I have with me today is my box of seeds. I'm going to pull out some of the things that I want to get started a little bit earlier than some of the leafy greens and things that can be direct sown into the soil in my garden. I've got some cups and a bag of soil. So we'll start a couple things today, and what I'm going to do is keep them. I have a greenhouse shelf set up in my laundry room with lights on it, so I will keep them in there in the peak of the day, but probably morning, maybe evening. Again, it depends on the day because it's raining almost every evening here. I'll try to stick them outside just so my lights aren't on all day. Here's some of the things that I pulled out. I've saved seeds from different flowers over the past 2 years. So I've got some cosmos, calendula, and marigolds, and then I also have some of them in new seed packets. So I've got some marigolds I'd like to replant. I've got new calendula. This one I've never grown before. This is called the Lavender Lady Gomphrena. Looks like this. Next year I'd really like to focus on a color palette for all of my flowers. I kind of tend to like to do that, lean towards more pink one year, orange next year. And next year I'd really like to do a full garden of really mainly purple and blue flowers. It's really my color palette that I always lean towards, to be totally honest, but I want to lean hard into that next year. So I want to try these in the fall this year and see how cool they look, just because there's something new, so I can get a head start. A couple other things that I want to get started. My Roma tomatoes just petered out, and this was my first year growing Roma tomatoes, and they did fantastic. I was really impressed. I really enjoyed these, and I just made a giant batch of homemade ketchup, which ended up tasting more like a really savory hot sauce without the heat. And it ended up being delicious, surprisingly. I mean, not surprisingly, because everything homemade is better, but I really like the recipe that I made and just accidentally really liked it. So I'm gonna start more of these and hope I should get enough time in the season to get another round. So hopefully I'm not too late. Romanesco broccoli. I've never grown this before. I think this is an incredible looking food, and I want to do a couple of these, and I might even plant them at a couple different places in the garden to see where they do best, and if pests get to one batch of them, I'm hoping that they don't get to the other. Sometimes you just have luck when you plant them in different places. Cauliflower is something that only I eat in my family, but I'd like to try to grow it just to say that I can. I have 2 types. One is called Amazing and one is called a self-blanching. So definitely an experiment. Broccoli, like I said earlier, is something my family eats a lot of. So I am going to grow a couple different types. I know I have a bunching type that's just a big head of broccoli and I can't find it in my seeds, but I'm gonna try to find that one again. And then I have 2 that are more sprouting or broccoli rabe types. One is green, called a rapini, and one is a purple sprouting. Other things I want to start: some celery, 2 kales that are really dark and purple. I just think kale is such a cool, fun pop of color that's edible and gorgeous. And then I started some black, they're really more green pumpkins in my garden earlier this season, and I really like them. I was looking through my seeds and it looks like I might have enough time to get one more harvest. For whatever reason, I'm guessing it's a squash bug issue. I got 3 of these, actually it's just like these pumpkins off my plants, and then they just stopped. So I want to restart those ASAP, get those in the soil because they were just fun. I put them on my table as a centerpiece and I think they're really pretty. 2 that I'd like to find a place for is a Kukuzi gourd. This is not a cucumber, but it's sort of in that same vining family, and then an Armenian cucumber. I started both of these and neither of them germinated. So I will restart these. And then the last thing is a Hales Jumbo melon. And last year was my first year growing melons and I had a medium time with it. I think fall is a good time to restart these and see if they do better, if I can dedicate a proper trellis to it. I'm gonna start filling up cups with soil. I'm gonna do some smaller cups. I think these are 3-inch and these are 4-inch cups. Pretty significant difference in size. But I'll get some of my flowers and smaller things as soon as they germinate. They can really start to go out. And then some of the things that need a little bit more time, like the broccoli, I'm gonna put in here so they have a little bit more space. They're gonna stay in my greenhouse rack a little bit longer until the hot weather starts to reduce, or our days aren't all hot. They have some longer, cooler periods in the morning before the heat really hits at the end of the day. All right, I have the soil in 3 trays, 2 of the smaller cups, 1 of the larger, and next I'm just gonna make some markers for each of the rows. So typically how I do it is 1 row down is 1 type of seed. So I have a little bit of insurance in case one of them doesn't work out. And also I can plant things in different parts of the garden outside. All right, so I've got all my labels done. So each label is for each row, as you can see. So I am going to start putting in each seed about 1 or 2 per cup per label, and get through all of these, and then put a little bit of soil on top, then water on top. All right, soil is on top and a quick light water. Hello, it's a couple days later than the rest of this video. My last clip ended up having too much noise in the background. It was super distracting. So I am currently in my laundry utility room. This is my greenhouse situation. In the spring, well, really the winter, I start all of my seeds in a shelf unit with grow lights in it, and I usually have 2. Only 1 is still active during the summer months in order to start fall seeds. So what I have wrapped around here is sun blockers for cars. I have 2 or 3 of them wrapped around each of these, so all the light stays inside the shelf unit. And when I open it up, just have little zip tie things that go around. You will see my seeds. So as you can see, a lot of them have germinated and some are still going. We've got one celery up, some melons, cucuzzi gourds, Armenian cucumbers, pumpkins here. This row are some of the tomatoes, flowers in the back, kales up here. I ended up finding, actually I had to buy a new broccoli pack, and then I found some other seeds that I wanted to get started. So these are all big bunch broccoli heads. So those all came up. Right here are some celery that I got from the grocery store a while back, and I just stuck them in water like I always do. And I stuck them in soil after they started to root. Those are some mammoth basil that accidentally got broken off in the garden, and I just rerooted it. And then way at the bottom, we've got the rampini broccoli, the purple sprouting broccoli, the Romanesco, I think that's how you say it, broccoli, that really geometric one, and then the cauliflower down here. So everything is germinating extremely well. In fact, I put too many seeds in each cup, so I might have to either put them in separate cups and maybe some smaller ones. I can fit them all in the same tray, or pinch some off and just have one in each cup. I'll debate that in about another week or so, what kind of work I want to do on these. And then I still have one more shelf area that I can really fit more in, so I may or may not start more. I think this is plenty for a fall garden. But there's certainly some other things that I'd like to get started. I'm not sure if I want to get them done inside or outside, meaning direct sown outside. Things like lettuce, a couple extra kale plants, maybe start a few more marigolds, things like that. But TBD, I always like to leave one extra space, because if I randomly get the urge one weekend, there's no stopping me, so I'll leave a little bit of space there for that. But yeah, everything's coming along really well. There are boxes and towels under these and placemats to get these seedlings as close to the lights as possible so that they're not so leggy. Plants that are really, really far from lights, so these, for example, will get a little bit longer than they really should, causing the plant to kind of bend towards the light. It's just demonstrating that it's reaching for light and not really getting enough. If they're going nice straight up and not too super long, that's a good sign that they're getting enough light and they're close enough to the light. So as these grow, I'll keep taking rows away until they're ready to go out in the garden. So that's what it all looks like. Fall gardening is certainly off to a great start. We'll see how all of this does, but I'm excited to get my first real proper fall garden started and taken care of. So thank you for joining me for today's video. I really appreciate you, and I'll keep you updated on the fall garden as it progresses. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.